Hello everyone, this is Viking with a W, talking to everything Pokemon investing Europe. Today I bring you the weekly update on the supply and prices of sealed Pokemon products for week 20. Let's start off with the supply decrease or increase of this week's products for sealed Mega Evolution, Set Scarlet and Violet, Sword and Shield, and Sun and Moon. So let's go quickly through it and see what is happening on the market. Mega Evolutions, Chaos Rising. Supply increase as it should because it's a new set. So we'll see if the price reflected that. Let's assume that the price might probably decrease. We'll see. Perfect Order is decreasing by quite a lot, by 100 boxes per week. Then Mega Evolutions Ascended Heroes ETBs also decreased by 20. We can see that there is somewhat of steady decrease over the weeks, which is really healthy and good. If this continues, then we can expect like a price increase. Phantasmal Flames. The supply has increased by a little bit. Mega Evolution, it started to decrease quite rapidly when we look at the past few weeks. It wasn't that big, but now it finally started. I think this was really expected because this is a really good base set, if not the best base set that we had. Scarlet and Violet, White Flare, also a really sharp decrease over the weeks. Black Bolt, kind of decreased as well. So it's a really healthy movement there. We can expect prices to rise, I would assume. So let's start to mark the ones where we expect that the prices might have increased or decreased. Let's see, how should we mark this? I haven't thought this really through. So let's look at perfect order and let's look at Phantasmal Flames, Mega Evolution. Let's look at Black Bullet and White Flare, as there are some substantial movements there. Destined Rivals, somewhat of a decrease over the weeks, which is good. Journey Together, a substantial decrease over 4 weeks' time. Let's look at the price there as well. Prismatic Evolutions. This one is, I think, the only interesting one, and this is because there was a really huge resupply, at least from the amounts that we see over the weeks. 500 plus boxes, not counting the ones that have been probably sold. Maybe it could have been even a 600 throughout the week. Something might have been missed there. We'll see if the prices have reflected this also. So Surging Sparks, somewhat of a steady decrease happening there. Stellar Crown, also a little bit of movement there. Shrouded Fable, quite a heavy decrease. Let's look at that one, what's happening there. Twilight Masquerade, there's a little bit of a movement still happening there. The supply is not that big, so I don't know if the prices will reflect that. Temporal Forces steadily decreasing. Paladin Fates steadily decreasing. Paradox Rift also a little bit of a decrease, not that substantial over the weeks. 151 still somewhat stable. Obsidian Flames steady decrease. Paldea Evolved steady decrease. Scarlet Violet, somewhat of a sharp turn there for the base set. We can have a look at the prices as well, what was happening there. Crown Zenith, steadily decreasing. Silver Tempest, also steady. Lost Origin, steady decrease, but with the price marks that are there, it's kind of huge, I would assume. We can have a look at that. Now for Pokemon Go, nothing much happening there. I think people are trying to dump that one for whatever reason, or not for whatever reason, because it's not the best set overall, but at those prices, I don't know how it makes sense to dump it. Then Astral Radiance, steadily decreasing. Brilliant Stars, somewhat the same. Fusion Strike, nothing happening there. Celebrations, I think there's some dumpage happening, so the supply has increased actually. Evolving Skies, still the same. Chilling Rain, nothing much happening there. Battle Styles, not much happening there. Shining Fates increased, so people are trying to dump that one at that price point. So not many people like that set, I would assume, or something's happening that they're not really wanting. Vivid Voltage, not much happening. Champion's Pad, nothing's happening there. Darkness Ablaze, nothing's happening there. Rebel Clash, nothing's happening there. And Sword and Shield base, not much happening there as well. For the Sun and Moon block, Cosmic Eclipse, quite a sharp decrease, about 4 boxes when it comes to like only the small amount that can probably reflect the price. Let's have a look at that. Hidden Fates, nothing happening there. Unified Minds, some dumpage is happening there. Unbroken Bonds, a little bit of a sharp turn, 5 boxes in 1 week with those price points. Let's have a look at that. And Team Up, nothing much happening there. Lost Thunder, 3 boxes. That's quite a big movement for 1 week at that price point. Let's have a look at that as well. Dragon Majesty, nothing much happening there. People are trying to, I guess, take some profits. Celestial Storm, oh, 6 boxes, quite a lot. So that one is going pretty rapidly, I would assume. So we don't know if it's like a different language set because this is Europe or the English set, but we'll see probably in the prices. Forbidden Light, nothing much happening there. Ultra Prism, 5 boxes as well, quite sharp turn. Crimson Invasion, not much happening there. Shining Legends, nothing much. Burning Shadows, people are trying to get rid of this booster box, so there's a little bit of supply increase. Guardians Rising, not much happening. Sun and Moon, not much happening. So we have some contenders for price movement, I would assume. So let's look at the prices, what is happening there. Chaos Rising, as expected, the supply has increased there. So probably like, let's mark these first, I would assume. So Perfect Order, Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution. Then we have White Flare, Black Bolt, Journey Together, Prismatic Evolutions, Shrouded Fable, and Scarlet and Violet. And Lost Origin. And what else did we have there? Okay, so probably more or less Sun and Moon era stuff. I think it was Unbroken Bonds. Yep, Lost Thunder, Celestial Storm, and Ultra Prism. Okay, so starting off, so as expected, price dropped by just 10 euros, even though the supply has increased by a little bit. Perfect Order. So we expected that there was a sharp decrease, but the price still holds firm. So I think there's a lot of demand for this set, but the price is still exactly the same. Ascended Heroes, there was a little bit of a movement. I think this is reflected in the supply as well. So steady decreases, I think, command steady increases in prices. So we are currently at 155 per ETB. Mega Evolution, Phantasmal Flames. This has increased quite substantially, I would assume, throughout the weeks. So I think there was a little bit of price correction happening there previously, but it went back up to the all-time high currently in Europe, which is 330. Mega Evolution, even though there was a huge buyout, I would say, for Mega Evolution, the price still holds steady. So I think now is a really good last opportunity if there's no increase in supply or restocks happening. I think this is probably a very good bet to start buying Mega Evolution still. Otherwise, the price might increase. White Flare and Black Bolt, as we can see, prices start to finally move as this set deserves that movement because I personally think, and I also own only Black Bolt, but this set really is very nicely stacked, so overall good that it started to increase also in price and it's reflecting there. Destined Rivals, a little bit of movement happening there, so currently at 390 euros. Journey Together, not much happening there in terms of price. I think it's kind of going backwards after the correction, similar to how, where was it? Similar to, which one was it that I wanted to mention? one of these sets that had that small yeah, it was Phantasmal Flame. So I think the behavior is kind of the same. So a little bit of a price correction, and then again to that high. Where were we? So this was Journey Together, Prismatic Evolutions. Even though there was this huge supply increase of those 550 boxes, excuse me, the price hasn't dipped that much. So probably a good buying opportunity there. Let's mark buying opportunities with a green. So I would assume prismatic evolutions and mega evolution, and also from my point of view, these are really good. Perfect order, I'm now not counting towards like good buying opportunity. Also not ascended heroes. Like ascended heroes, you can dollar cost average that one. Perfect order I don't really like, so I don't think that's a good buying opportunity, even though it's at that low price point. If we see still some continuous supply increases or restocks throughout the upcoming years, that price can be still very low for a very long time. Okay, Surging Sparks, nothing much happening there. Stellar Crown, steady increase by quite a bit. Shrouded Fable, even though it was bought out heavily, it doesn't reflect the price. Twilight Masquerade, 245, so it started to increase. So what we saw with Twilight Masquerade was that it's steadily decreasing, but the price is starting to reflect that. So a good thing for investors, I would assume. Temporal Forces, not much happening there. Paladin Fates, steady decrease, demanded an increase in price, which is good also, very nice. Paradox Rift, as assumed, not gonna move much. Scarlet and Violet 151, steady decreases. Price starts to really reflect that, so good for investors overall. I think I'm gonna start marking these ones as well, where it feels like gold currently, where there were these sharp increases. At least for this week, that I'm gonna just remove that. But just for your convenience, when you look at the video backwards, you can much more easily identify like what was happening throughout the week. So where were the other sharp increases? Let's have a look. So Phantasmal Flames was golden. Destined Rivals not that much. And yeah, that's about, I guess, it for time. I assume I missed one. So 150, 300. This can be quite substantial. Like 25 euros per week is really nice. And yeah, I guess let's leave it at that for the time being. Okay, moving on. So Obsidian Flames increased in value. Paldea evolved, still steady. Scarlet and Violet decreased in value for whatever reason. I am remembering that this one had a huge decrease in supply, but still price reflected it backwards, which is interesting. I think people are trying to get some profits there right now. Crown Zenith increased, which is good. Silver Tempest decreased, interesting. Lost Origin, I think this is gold. So as you can see, Lost Origin had its movement throughout the weeks, and the price has really reflected that. So congratulations to anyone who is owning Lost Origin. Pokemon Go, the price is somewhat reflecting that, even though the supply has increased. Astral Radiance, not that much. Brilliant Stars increase. Fusion Strike also is increasing in value. Celebrations still stagnant. Evolving Skies going downwards. Interesting. Chilling Rain, stagnant. Battle Styles, not much happening there as expected. Shining Fates, little by little, it's starting to creep up. So probably still an opportunity there to start buying, I would assume. At least from the short-term perspective, it seems like that. Vivid Voltage, not much movement. Champion Spat, nothing. Darkness Ablaze, not much movement. Rebel Clash, nothing. And Sword and Shield Base, nothing throughout the past week. Coming to the Sun and Moon era, Cosmic Eclipse, even though it was decreased, the value is still the same. Hidden Fates decreased in value. Unified Minds decrease. Unbroken Bonds, a little bit of an increase, which is good. Team Up decreased in value. Lost Thunder also decreased in value. Dragon's Majesty, a little bit of an increase. Well, not a little bit of an increase, but when we assume the previous weeks, it was at 2,000 euros. Then it went back down to 1,000. Now it's back to 1,200. So I'm not counting this as a huge movement. Celestial Storm increase, probably golden, I would assume 100 bucks. It looks like an all-time high also, so good there. Forbidden Light, not much movement there. Ultra Prism decrease. So interesting that we saw these supply movements to the downside, and the prices have reflected it somewhat not interestingly at all. Crimson Invasion, kind of a good move for a bad set, so I'm going to mark this as golden. So if someone still owns Crimson Invasion, good for you. You had at least somewhat of an increase back to like an all-time high, so it's a good thing. Shining Legends, oh, very good movement, even though I haven't marked it. So interesting to see that there is still this 1,200 and 500 euros on the line. Burning Shadows decreased in value, or at least it increased interweekly, which is good. And Guardians Rising still a steady 1,050, and Sun and Moon base at 890. So what we can see, at least from the perspective of supply, investment, and overall the gist of this week, is that not everything that moves downwards quickly also increases in price like rapidly, and even those sets that might not have been marked, if they have at least a steady decrease throughout the weeks and the supply is dwindling little by little, then there's not much on the market. The stronger sets really like perform. So this week's winners, I would say, from an investment standpoint, are Phantasmal Flames, Paldean Fates, 151, Lost Origin, Celestial Storm, and Crimson Invasion. From an opportunity perspective, I think the best time, what you can do at this week, is Mega Evolutions, White Flare, Black Bolt, Prismatic Evolutions, probably Shining Fates. This one is a little bit of a speculation. Otherwise, there's just price movements or like supply movements, but no price movements at all. So here are your opportunities of the week. Also, what were the price movements of the week and supply movements of the week. And I think this is a much better format that I'm going to do moving forwards. So I hope this gave you at least some value for this video, and if anything, I will catch you next time.